Bellator 223, we got Mousasi taking on Lovato Jr. for the Bellator middleweight championship. Right off the bat, I like Gegard here to win this fight. As we look at the tapes, see that Mousasi has a lot more experience going into this fight with a record of 45, 6, and 2 draws. He's going to be the younger fighter going into this fight. Gegard's on a big win streak here. I mean, as you take a closer look at his record here, we know that he hasn't lost since Uriah Hall back in 2015 of September 26. But besides that, he holds big wins. Matthias Latest, Thiago Santos, Vitor Belfort, and the list goes on. I mean, he beat Rory McDonald recently. And, Gegard, most of his wins are by TKO. He has 26 on his record, but he also mixes it up well because he holds 7 decision wins and 12 good submission victories. So, he's as solid as it comes. He's fighting Strikeforce. He's fighting, the UFC, beat Chris Weidman. So, he's for sure one of the most underrated middleweights in all of MMA. And I think he really going to be able to put this work on Rafael here, Lovato Jr. But Lovato Jr. is a solid submission fighter. Strong points are pretty much his submissions. As you see on his record, he has 6 submission victories. He subbed John Salter, beat Gerald Harris, and he holds a decision win over Chris Honeycutt. I mean, he's 9-0. He doesn't have that much experience compared to Gegard Mousasi. So I really like Gegard Mousasi to pick up the W, man. I really just think Gegard striking is going to be a lot better than Lovato Jr. His takedown defense is solid, so I don't see how Lovato Jr. is going to get the fight down on the ground. And if Gegard wants to take the fight down in the mat, I'm pretty sure he could take Lovato Jr. down and pretty much control him. So my pick here is going to be Gegard Mousasi picking up the W. As we move on to the co-main event, we got welterweights. We got Paul Semtex Daly taking on Eric Silva. Solid welterweight showdown. Paul Daly, is coming off of a loss here to MVP. He has a record of 40-17, so he has a lot of miles on him. But, he's a solid veteran of the sport, and he picks up big W's. Also on his record, he's 5'9", so he's going to be the shorter fighter compared to Eric Silva. Eric Silva has a record of 20-10, but as we look at Paul Daly's record, before he lost to MVP and John Finch, he picked up a big win on Lorenz Larkin. So, that was a big win on his record. He's fought pretty much the best of the best. He fought Rory McDonald, Douglas Lima, and, he pretty much was on a big win streak at one point before he fought Douglas Lima and came up short. So I really like Semtex Daly pick up the W. As you see, most of his wins are by TKO. He has 32 TKOs on his record. His opponent, Eric Silva, like I said, has a record of 20-10. So, he has solid experience fighting in the UFC as well. He's coming off of a loss. Also Yancy Medeiros in the UFC, Jordan Mean, and, he picked up big wins, though, over guys like Josh Koscheck, who's a real, solid vet at one point, was really one of the best welterweights at one point. So he picked up a big win on his resume. Most of his wins are by submission. He has 13 submission wins on his record and, 4 TKOs. Most of his losses, though, are by decision. So, yeah, man, I really like Semtex Daly to pick up the W here. So we're going to go with our boy Paul Daly picking up the W. As we move on to a catchweight fight, we got James Gallagher taking on Jeremiah here. James Gallagher, is pretty much a hot prospect. A lot of people, think that he's getting a little bit overrated. They mark him up too high. trying to make him seem like he's the next Conor McGregor since he's fighting out of Ireland. He's a young, hungry fighter. He has a record of 8-1, so he doesn't have that much experience. He's 22 years young, 5'8", and he has a reach of 67. Like James Gallagher here to pick up the W. Jeremiah, he's a solid fighter in the Bellator ring with a record of 12-6. He's 5'10", so he's going to be the taller fighter going in the fight here. Most of James Gallagher wins are by submission, so he has a solid submission game. He's coming off of a win over Stephen Graham. But before that, he got TKO'd, where he came up short against Ricky Bandejas. And a lot of people, was shocked by that outcome. But James Gallagher came back and, he picked up a W. But his opponent, Jeremiah, as you see his record, 12 wins. Most of his wins, are tied apiece at 4 apiece, 4 decision, 4 submissions, and 4 TKO. He's coming off of a big win. But yeah, I like James Gallagher really to pick up the W. I just think his aggressive style, he's going to be able to break Jeremiah. He's going to be able to, outstrike him. I think James Gallagher's striking is pretty, solid, but he can fall back to his submission background because he has 7 submission wins on his record. So he can get it done. So we go James Gallagher picking up the W. So we move on to this middleweight showdown. We got Mike Shipman taking on the one and only Spaniard, Costello. I like Mike Shipman picking up the W. Right off the bat, we see that, Mike is 13-1. His opponent, he's 11-1. So these guys both don't have that much experience in the fight game. So skill level wise, they should be, pretty much the same. So we look at Mike Shipman here. He's off of a solid, fucking win streak here, man. He beat Craig White, a man who's fought in the UFC before, back in Rise of Champions too. He's off of a win in Bellator, so he's no stranger to competing in the Bellator promotion. Most of his wins are by TKO. He has 8 TKOs on his record and 5 submission victories as well. So he has a solid submission game. Also, his opponent on the other side, is fighting out of the Netherlands, and he's 11-1. As we see, most of his wins are by submission. He beat Chris Honeycutt back in Bellator 210, so he's no stranger from fighting here in Bellator. Give me a solid fight. He's on a big win streak as well, but I just think that Mike Shipman is going to be able to be a stronger fighter, be able to oppose his will here. So my pick is going to be Mike Shipman getting it done. As we move on to the fight card, we jump into a light heavyweight bout. We got the return of Melvin Manhoff taking on the one and only Kent here. Solid fight. As you see, Melvin Manhoff has tons of experience. He's going to be the shorter fighter, being 5'8". He's up there in age. He's 43 years old, and he's a tough dude. Packs a lot of power. He has solid kickboxing background. Nasty leg kicks, possibly one of the nastiest in all of MMA. And the dude got so much power, it just takes one strike and you could be sleeping on the mat. But I like the younger, fresher fighter, Kent, out of England, picking up the W here. Just think the size advantage is going to play a big role. I'm pretty sure he'll have the reach advantage as well. 5'9", fighting at light heavyweight, I think is really, really short, man. But like I said, Melvin, he's a vet. He has ways to win in this fight. But I just like the younger, fresher fighter. 43 years old. I think that's, high up there in age, especially with a record like he has. Has a lot of miles, and, He's been TKO 5 times, so his chin is questionable. Most of his losses, though, are by submission. Most of Melvin Manhoff wins are by TKO. He's been on a 2-fight losing streak. His opponent Kent here, fighting out of England. I mean, as you see, most of his wins are by TKO as well, but he holds 2 submission victories. Most of his losses are by submission. He beat Alessio Sakaro by TKO, so, he knocked out a real, pretty much a pioneer kind of Italian sport of MMA, the sport of MMA. And Alessio Sakaro fought in the UFC, so that's a big win to have on his record. So yeah, my pick has to be Kent here. So there we go. Pick up Kent. As we move on to the fight card, we have more of some solid UK fighters. We got Fabian Edwards getting the job done here, taking on Jonathan here. Fabian Edwards 7-0. So Jonathan's gonna have more experience going into this fight. Fabian Edwards is 6'1", and he has a very long reach. He has a 79-inch reach, so pretty sure you have the reach advantage going into this fight. Fabian Edwards, known as the Assassin, most of his wins are by submission or 3 TKOs. So yeah, man, I mean, he mixes it up pretty well. And he's coming off of a big 7-fight win streak. He's fought in Bellator. So he has experience here fighting in this promotion. His opponent, Jonathan, here, he has a record of 7-4. So most of his losses are by submission. His weak points are pretty much, stuffing the takedowns and trying to defend submissions. But he holds 4 TKOs on his record. He'll be making his debut here in Bellator, so we don't know how he's going to do with all this pressure, making the big stage for his very first time. So, yeah, man, my pick has to be Fabian, getting it done. So, yeah, that's my pick, Fabian Edwards. We got more middleweights. We got Charlie Ward taking on Justin Moore. I like Charlie Ward here picking up the W, representing Ireland here. He's going to be taking on a fighter. He's 34 years old with a record of 7-3, Justin Moore. Charlie Ward, he trains over there, out of Straight Blast Gym in Ireland. And he's worked, he worked up his way up here to this Bellator promotion, picked on a 3-fight win streak. He's fought in Bellator, so he has experience fighting underneath this manner. He's 4 TKOs on his record, so most of his wins are by TKO. He's been TKO'd 3 times, so most of his losses are by TKO. Justin Moore, his opponent here, most of his wins are by TKO, 5 TKOs and 2 submission wins. He's coming off of a loss here by submission. And it looks like he's going to be making his Bellator debut as well. So he doesn't have experience fighting in Bellator, so we don't know how he's going to take pressure, fighting on his debut at the big stage against a guy like Charlie Ward, who's known for fighting in Bellator. My pick here is going to be Charlie Ward to pick up the W. So we move on to the last fight on the main card. But the first one here, another catchweight fight. Aaron Chalmers taking on Fred Freeman. Very tough fight to call, but I gotta go with the one and only Chalmers picking up the W here at the catchweight. These guys don't have that much experience. Got the UK taking on the United States. Chalmers here. It's gonna be 5'10", so he's gonna be a little bigger going into this fight against Fred Freeman. They both don't have that much experience, as you can tell with these records here. But gotta go around and pick with the man that's fighting pretty much in his own country. So my pick is gonna be Aaron Chalmers. He's coming off of a loss by submission. Most of his wins are by TKO or submission at 2 piece. His opponent, Fred Freeman, here, they got him at 1-1 here. He lost to Baby Slice. So that just shows what kind of skill set he's at right now. He probably made improvements. But I think Aaron Chalmers to pick up the W.